I'm here with Sarah. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank
First
you.
time on the podcast.
Oh, I'm so excited.
So excited. So, this conversation is about the misconception that yoga is about flexibility or just for flexible people. And this kicked off because we were at a cafe the other day underneath the Brighton studio called Super Random, which is a delicious cafe if you haven't been there. And we were reading an article, and the article was about what kind of movement modality you should do for different things. So it was examples. If you want to gain more muscles, you go to the gym. If you want to get better at cardio, go for a run. And if you want to be more flexible, go to yoga.
That's a very basic approach.
Look, the age got it wrong. Sorry, age. It is not correct. And, that's what we're going to talk about today. Yoga isn't about flexibility. It's so much more than that. And it isn't just for flexible people. So I'll let Sarah tell us your thoughts on this topic.
It's a really common misconception. I think most people think yoga, they think flexible people doing the splits or something. But these days, a modern vinyasa practice or even a slow flow, even yin, is so much more than just flexibility. And through a class, you're building strength, you're moving your spine, your hips, your shoulders in all directions, you're lengthening your muscles and strengthening your muscles. And it's pretty challenging. There's balance, there's coordination. It's so good for you physically and mentally. And there's so much more to it than just, well, you probably will get more flexible. And especially, I always say to people, if you're already flexible, maybe more gym, more weights, but it's for people that feel really tight in their bodies, who want to feel more freedom of movement, to be strong and spacious. So if you go to a yoga practice, it's way more balanced than that, and you get a lot out of it.
It's interesting. We speak to a lot of people that say, oh, I can't do yoga. I can't keep my mind still, or I can't touch my toes. There's obviously some self-consciousness around this. So can you run us through like a vinyasa class or a slow flow class, the strength and stretch element and the mobility element? How does that come into play in terms of a standard 1 hour class?
So generally, this teacher is going to build you up to the more challenging postures. So you start with a little bit of flexibility, mobility, kind of just warming up the body, spinal movements, gentle hip and shoulder opening. And then as you move through the practice, once the body's a little bit open, then you start to build strength. So maybe you're doing lunges and warriors and that kind of thing, so that you're building strength and flexibility at the same time, and they're quite complementary to each other. And then once you get really deep in your kind of like heat in the body from standing, from balancing, then you go into some deeper stretching, but the body's really prepared and ready for it. So you get to add flexibility, but from that strength that you've already built. And then you always end in Shavasana. It's my favorite part. You get to just lay there and be relaxed. And yeah, I think there's so many different ways to modify the practice. So if you're coming in feeling injured or not feeling strong or not feeling flexible, there's something in it still for everyone. And with the teachers at Warrior One, they're so knowledgeable. They can really help you modify the class so that you can still build strength and flexibility no matter where you're starting from.
That's a really common misconception too, that if I'm injured, I should rest or I shouldn't do anything. And you're right, with yoga, because of the low impact element of it, there are options,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. My own personal practice is yoga and Pilates and weight training.
Yeah.
And what I notice for myself is if I don't do yoga, the other areas of my training struggle. So I'm curious, how do you feel the balance of your week? You obviously teach about 12
Yeah.
classes a week, but your personal movement, what does that look like?
Yeah, I like to do a lot of walking. I also do Pilates, and I feel exactly the same. It's so funny, especially as we're getting a little bit older. Not too old, but a little bit older. Uh,
41 nearly.
if I don't do yoga 2 or 3 times a week, even once a week, sometimes I really let it slip if I'm teaching extra classes or something. I'll wake up feeling really stiff. My body doesn't feel as good,
Yeah.
even if I've done other modalities. There's something in that combination of the flexibility and the strengthening, and I think mentally as well. I just feel more calm, maybe not in the moment while I'm balancing on one leg or something, but later, like my overall state of being is just better and my body feels better.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Such a pleasure.
Flexibility, strength, and mobility, that's really what makes the practice epic. And that's what we find at pretty much all the Warrior One yoga classes. So we'll see you on the mat.